The state budget includes so many things, but one in particular of interest here is an item that should clear the way for SUNY ESF to add its second dorm in its history. Joining us now, ESF President Joanie Mahoney. Great to see you.
It's so nice to see you.
It's been a minute.
It has been. I used to get to talk to you more often.
Yes. Well, we're going to do it now.
Okay.
Don't want you to necessarily have to get too deep into this, but in order to build a dorm, you had to have a land transfer. That was part of the state budget.
Right.
So how does that work? And what does it mean?
So the state budget just passed, which is good news. There was a lot in there for SUNY and for ESF in particular. And one of the pieces is the ability for us to ultimately issue a request for information immediately, followed, we hope, by a request for proposals for somebody to build new housing for ESF, and then maybe other amenities that would support the college.
Okay, so it sounds like we have a few steps to go, but it sounds like we're heading down that path.
Right.
So why is, and I'm going to call it a dormitory, residence halls, whatever you want to call them, why is that important to add a second one now to SUNY ESF? And it's about 115 years old, the college, and we're only talking about number 2. Right,
I know. They're not moving too quickly on their...
Okay.
I was a Syracuse University student, and I lived with ESF students I graduated in 1987. ESF students historically lived in Syracuse University housing, and then they built their first dorm, which has been very successful. Yeah. It is a very modern, beautiful dorm that wins awards, and the students love it, to the extent that if they want to stay there after their first year, sometimes they can't because there's no more room. So we only have 1-year residency requirement. A lot of colleges have 2, and some students like to stay 3 and 4. Okay. And we also are a big transfer school, meaning a lot of students maybe finish an associate's degree at a community college and transfer in. And if they're coming from outside the area, they want housing, and we have not historically had any housing to offer them. And you know what's happened with housing prices. So it's nice to be able to say we have housing on campus.
So it is certainly then an amenity. Is it also something that could help drive some extra revenue into the school?
Yes, and we do need that. It can drive extra revenue through increasing our capacity, perhaps our enrollment, but also depending on what the agreement is that we eventually sign. This is going to be a public-private partnership, and it's going to be, if things go the way as planned, a private developer that will lease the land and build, and then that will, be in exchange for revenue for the college's operations. So this can be good for students, good for our budget, and good for the community. If ESF is big and strong and healthy, it's good for everybody.
It's certainly snug and tight up there, so where potentially would you possibly see it going?
There are a couple surface parking lots between 81 and the ESF campus, and one of them is referred to as P22. So we have Centennial Hall, a vacant lot. The second lot over from where our dorm is now is where it would be.
Gotcha. Rough timeline as we kind of move things along here? What would you like to see?
The RFI, the request for information, which is the first step to say to a developer, what do you think is possible here and what's the maximum we could do for the college? That's going out imminently in the next week or more, but real soon. And then depending on what that response is, we will sit down with potential developers and then I hope follow on quickly with an RFP. I'm a little concerned with the 81 construction because we're bumping right up to where 81's going to be coming down, so we're going to have to coordinate with the state. But yeah, we want to move as quickly as we can.
Just kind of moving off that a little bit, you have come through a pretty tough budget year. How are things now? Have the waters kind of calmed a little bit more?
ESF has been operating in a deficit for several years, and it was always money that was kind of picked up by the system in Albany. Chancellor King has challenged all the presidents across the SUNY system to interject the discipline to live within our means. We get an appropriation from the state every year, and we collect tuition. And the challenge is live within those means. And we put a stability plan together that looked out 5 years. And we are in what I hope will be the last year with a deficit. It's smaller this year than last year, and then we'll be back in the black. It has not been easy for the campus. We had a voluntary separation program, and several faculty and staff took advantage of that and have left the college. We're not able to backfill all of them. So it does mean more work for the people that are here. But the state came through in this year's budget with more revenue. That means they've increased our budget, our state allocation, by over 30% in the last few years. So they're doing their part, and now they're asking us to do ours. But we're doing better today than we were last year, and I think the future is bright.
I always love the stuff that you're doing up there. This was a great chat. We're going to have to do this more often, okay?
Absolutely, because that's the fun stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Joanie. Appreciate it.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.